Look at this magnificent beast. What you up to, girl? What you up to, mammy mams? Huh? Look at the camera. Aren't you beautiful? Aren't you? Look at the claws. Do you got the claws out? Huh? You got the little claws, huh? Do you get the teeth? Do you have the teeth? Huh? Let me see. Let me see those teeth. I know. You're made to kill things, aren't you?
So I just have a question, girl. You beautiful kitty. You beautiful kitty. If you're such a big, tough, massacring little feline, why is there still a mouse in my garbage can? Don't give my camera side-eye. Look at me. I am demanding answers right now, lady. Three cats in this house. And yet somehow there is still a live mouse in my trash can. So, I know what you're thinking right now. Emily, I did not turn on this app to go and seek out a story of time about vermin. Well, I'm here to tell you, you might not have been actively seeking it out, but you're gonna want to hear this story. So, full-on disclaimer, if you do not like mice or small, any kind of rodenty creatures with like little tails and big black eyes because, you know, they have like tiny little black souls, then this is not going to be the video for you. So in order to move forward telling this story, I'm also going to have to say that, you know, there's going to be some bleeped out words because there are just times when only obscenities are gonna do. So in order to understand what is currently happening right now in my house with... There you are. There you are, you little gulag. That's my trash can. That's the trash can that I love very much. It's made out of metal. This is gonna be a different side of myself. I'm going to show the camera, I'm going to document the side of myself that comes out naturally when there are friggin' mice inside my mother friggin' house. I'm saying friggin' already, I'm already breaking my own rules. I can't help it. They're inside my mother friggin' house. There's different kinds of mice out there that get represented. There's the red wall mice who are really cute and wear like little swords made out of needles. And then there's the mice of, you know, the Ralph series by Beverly Cleary, where, you know, he's just running around having a good time underneath the grandfather clock. Then there's the real life field mice who are regularly massacred by all three of my cats outside in the outdoors, where they could be very innocently like snuggling up to like one of those like little rosebuds that you see on Pinterest, where you have the little mouse butts just poking out with their cute little tails and their little feet, and you want to tickle them. You're like, you little thing, you fell asleep inside of a flower. Oh my goodness. Get away, cat. Get away. Don't kill a cute little mouse that's inside of a flower. How could you? And that's what we think of when we think of mice. They're the good rodents because they're essentially adorable. Let me tell you something right now, beloved. Mice are adorable outside. There are very distinct places where mice are just not adorable, and the number one place is in your house. And no one really comprehends this fact until it happens to them. And then, beloved, the very thing that you never thought would happen to you, one day happens to you. You wake up, you want to make some nice scrambled eggs, and you go and you try to find a nice pan to put your scrambled eggs in, and then you go open up your drawer where you keep all of your pans. And what do you find in there? You find tiny little brown oval shaped pieces of confetti. That's right, beloved. A mouse has just taken a all over your pans. And not only have they taken giant all over your pans, but they've also burrowed into your pasta. The pasta that you love. The pasta that you pay good money for at the home goods place, where you also bought the pans that had the really good Teflon coating on it. The pasta that you tell yourself eventually I'm going to use one day in the most remarkable of pasta scenarios. Well, now you can't use that pasta because the mouse took a chunk out of it, and once the mouse gets their tiny little teeth all up in it, you gotta throw the whole thing out. And you go, no, that can't be possible. This can't happen to me. I have 3 cats who kill everything. Surely they're not going to allow, like, furry intruders to invade the walls of my home and start on my pants. No! But yes. And I know what you're saying right now. Emily, have you ever thought of, like, taking a deep breath? Have you ever thought about going outside and, like, gently stroking some grass? First of all, it's winter, so no. And second of all, when this first originally happened, it was fall. And I guess I could have gone out and stroked some blades of grass, but I was more so kind of spiraling into a murderous state of mind. And when you're doing stuff like that, you don't think about nature. Actually, that's not entirely true. You think a lot about nature. You think to yourself, if this damn mouse was just outside in the nature from whence it first came, we wouldn't be having this problem. So this mouse is technically a belligerent intruder. And furthermore, I don't want to hear any judgments. Because unless you have actually gone through a mouse infestation yourself, you don't know how you're actually going to respond. I, by nature, am a pacifist. I don't like violence. I don't like violence towards animals, all kinds of animals. But I am here to reveal that all of that went out the window as soon as I woke up that day and saw a mouse all over my pants. It's a huge problem. If you ask anybody else who's ever gone through it, they're like, yeah, it's a huge problem. The point I am trying to make, and that most homeowners will tell you, is that if there is 1 mouse, there is probably 10 mouse. And if you see 3 mouse, there's probably 50. And if you happen to see, like, you know, like 20 mice just in your living room doing jumping jacks and little flips over each other, that means that your entire walls are full of mice and that you might as well leave. You are officially in a condemned building. Why are you still there? Is it because you like the mice? Stop liking the mice, because the mice don't give a crap about you. I have a lot of examples coming up. So, in 2018, upon finding little mouse in my pans and little holes in my pasta and just mouse on the ground as well, I did what any rational human being would do and be like, I need to get some mouse traps. That's all there is to it. You know, everybody's had to deal with this. I'm just like one more casualty, despite the fact that I was giving my cats a lot of very strongly worded lectures because, like, what the hell? And furthermore, can't we just, like, stop and examine that for a second? Because, like, I don't understand what was going through my cats' minds. Because literally, they could be outside and anything with a tiny heartbeat is going down. We're talking mob style. We're talking bodies littered within a 5-mile radius of, like, careful where you step, there might be a dead chipmunk there. And yet for some strange reason, that doesn't translate to inside the house, where it actually kind of matters. So I was deeply disappointed in my cats, but you can only take that so far. You can't, like, convince a cat to be like, oh yeah, maybe I will pitch in a little bit because it's my one job. So that was going nowhere. And so, you know, responsible, you know, apartment curator that I am, I'm like, let's get some traps. I got the little guillotine trap that just snaps shut on their neck when they're trying to get the piece of cheese out. I even went further than that with the humanity, and I got one of those little swivel traps where, like, they go inside because they want to get the piece of peanut butter or the cheese or whatever, and it just snaps shut on them, and all of a sudden they're inside, and they're like, oh no, I'm trapped, but I'm alive. And so you go out and you release them into the wild because you're a good person, and you just want to look at yourself in the mirror every day and be like, I saved that mouse that was in my house. I tried all of those things, beloved. I don't want you to think that I didn't try that. I did. I had them everywhere too, because it was becoming a problem in kind of a, you know, a disrespectful way. Not that it wasn't disrespectful to begin with, but it almost went up a notch. Let me explain. Okay, so I was here. You know, I was about ready to, you know, take off my work clothes and, you know, dress down for the day. And what happens when I look this way? Right there, right in the center there, there's a mother freaking mouse. And not just any mouse, but a pasta thief mouse, because I caught it red-handed, red-pawed, red-clawed, I don't know. But it had a piece of pasta in its mouth that it was carrying. Well, kind of carrying, kind of dragging. It was a spiral pasta because mice like fun-shaped pasta. Who knew? And I turned around and I went, "Hey!" And the mouse went, "Oh!" And in fact, it probably gave me a little sneer. I think it was like looking down at me. So this was like the view of the mouse, and he went, "He." And I went, "Hey!" And the mouse went, "Ah!" I went, "What the hell are you doing here? This is my house, and you have my pasta." And the mouse went, "Okay, you're right, I do have your pasta." And it went that way, running down the little mouse highway that it had for itself. And went, "Right, you should run away. What the hell are you doing in my house? This is my house. You're disrespecting me." Then I started turning away. Started walking this way, mumbling angrily to myself because, I was angry. And I swear to you, I was just over here like this for a second. I do a bit of a turn around and I look down. And the mouse had come back for the pasta. The mouse was like, "I happened to see you that we turned around, so I'm gonna grab the pasta. I'm gonna go leave." And beloved, if you don't think that totally infuriated me, oh, you're wrong. I went, "What the hell do you think you're doing, dude? It's my pasta." And you know what, dude? I think the mouse flipped me off as it was running away. It was like, "Ha! You! I got your pasta, I really." And all this proved to me that they weren't just any mice, beloved, but they were aggressive mice. They were aggressive, sassy, snot-faced little mice who didn't understand that I was the master in this domain and that they were the vermin that had to leave. If anything, they were sitting there in their little mouse lazy boy chairs at home going, "How can we disrespect Emily today?" Well, I wasn't having any of that. Now, I was mentioning the really humane traps, the traps that were like, "Hey, I'm a good person and I'm actually really trying to help you to leave," or at least help kill you in a very quick fashion, like the little guillotine things that just go on their little necks and kind of sever it. But here's the big secret about that. None of those damn things work. The problem was getting worse in the sense that the mice weren't gone and they were, stealing my pasta and flipping me off while they were doing it. And so, and none of the mouse traps were working, despite the fact that I had them scattered everywhere. In every corner, in every conceivable tiny mouse highway, there was one of those traps. My hand was forced, beloved. My hand was forced. I had to opt for the most horrible, inhumane traps. I'd use sticky traps. And for those of you who just went, "No, not that! How could you do something like that?" You already are in the end, aren't you? You already know where I'm going with this. And believe me, I get it. I totally get why you're upset right now. But it's gonna get worse. So, sticky traps are exactly as they sound. The very gruesome gist of it is that because none of your other more wholesome traps are working, you're going to lay down this sticky trap pad and wait for whatever it might be to run over it and get stuck to it. And so it cannot move and it cannot escape, but it also is not dead. This is why I had to give you the backstory of this plight and explain to you why it had to come to this. Because otherwise, you explain this to people and their little soft hearts, as they should be, hopefully, if you're a good, compassionate human being, are gonna go, "What? Why? No, how could you pick something so inhumane?" And the very just simple answer is that the mice brought it upon themselves. Do not cry for these mice, especially after what I'm about to tell you. Because the reality is that they're not gonna live very long anyways, except for, whatever the hell is in my trash can right now. Now, you're really gonna have to forgive me if the next part of the story you see trace amounts of glee all over my face. It's because there's trace amounts of glee inside my heart. The sticky traps were very effective. In fact, they were the most effective traps that probably exist. So you would find tiny little furry bodies stuck to it with their little beating hearts and, their tails and their little wriggling shoulders. Wow. Please don't let kids watch this. It's just one of those awful truths about the adult world. You gotta get rid of the vermin. You just keep getting angrier and angrier until all of a sudden this demon that you didn't know was hiding deep within the depths of your soul starts clawing its way out, through your eyeballs and through your mouth, and all of a sudden you're standing over the mouse and you're going, ha ha, I got you now. I got you now. I thought you were gonna get away with it forever. No, Emily's got you now. And now that you have this mouse be captured, what are you gonna do with it? You only have a couple of options, and those options like turn you into a bad person no matter what you do. First option is to just pick up the whole thing, put it in a bag, tie up the bag, and dispose of it. Now, that just means that the mouse is going to die on the sticky trap, afraid and hungry of starvation, never being able to grow up and be the quarterback its parents wanted it to be. All right, and now you're probably like, well, Emily, my gosh, what was the second option? Surely it's got to be better than the first option where they got to think about their entire very short mouse life while stuck to that sticky trap, feeling hopeless. Well, the second option is once you put it in the bag, you just put it on the floor and you step on it and kill it. You're like, really, Emily? That's it? You can't unstick them and just release them into the wild? No, you can't. You're never gonna get anything off of that thing, especially if it's like furry and has bones. That thing is stuck there forever. So it's supposed to go. So in 2018, I did have a boyfriend, and by some blessed fate, he did live next door. So there were times where I could just ask him to come over and get rid of the mouse, because despite the fact that I did have this vehement monster rising up inside of me, I'm also like kind of scared of mice. So you're just like, Emily, what did you do if your boyfriend wasn't there to take the mouse and stomp on it, technically mercy killing it? Well, you know, I eventually got some guts up and I started to dispose of the mice myself. So I started to become another human being, and it got to the point even where I was so incredibly satisfied to find a little mouse body attached to one of those sticky traps. Not even fully attached, but like half attached. And its tiny little mouse claws were gripping the floor that it was on. Well, its lower half of the body was stuck to the glue. And I was like, oh no, sir. Oh no, you tiny little... You're gonna go die now. So I went and got one of those grocery store bags and flapped it open and held it in front of me as I took a very small portion of the sticky trap. And for a second, all my fear left me of like the little wriggling thing that I was condemning to death, and I became Maleficent. I became a hunter on safari. I became that evil teacher in Matilda, Trunchbull, who has no qualms with lording over innocent creatures. And I picked it up, and as I did, its little claws clung to the wood. And I could hear it scratching as I slowly, because heaven forbid you do these things fast, slowly took it off the floor and dropped it into the bag. And didn't feel sorry about it. If you stop watching at this point, I really don't blame you. I think you're like, what is this lady getting at? Like, I need you to know the backstory. I need you to know the backstory of what happened in 2018, because it matters right now in 2021. Because I've been through this before. I've had this harrowing ordeal happen to me before, and I handled it. And I didn't handle it in the way I wanted to handle it, inhumanely. You know, if I had been able to play the flute and have all the mice come out in like their little skirts and their, you know, little waistcoats, and they're all dancing along and they form a line, and I just open the door and they all just dance out and they're like, I'm sorry, Emily, it was a misunderstanding, then I would totally have enjoyed that. However, it didn't happen. It had to get dark. But you know what? I'm not apologizing for it. I protected my home and hearth. I got rid of the mice problem. Gruesomely. So 2018 happens. We take care of it, right? Well, I take care of it. Well, I guess Sean helped, but mostly I take care of it. And hasn't been a single scratch since. And then, a few weeks ago, I started hearing noises. Most likely, it's mice. And that immediately makes my little heart seize up. And so what do? I put down the last remaining sticky trap I have. And lo and behold, we catch a mouse. So I kind of expected to see more mice later on, but of course I was, being naive and really hoping I didn't. But of course that is just not the case. Because these mice, these mother mice, are back. Then one morning I wake up and I go over to my kitchenette area where I have a beautiful ornate wooden cutting board. And what do I find on this beautiful cutting board, you may ask? Go ahead and guess. Mouse shit! That's right, these little motherfuckers came in, went onto my cutting board, as if to say, I'm going to go onto one of your prized possessions where we know you are going to be cutting up food for your own consumption, and I am going to lift my little butt cheeks and I'm going to deposit a tiny gift on here to prove how much I hate you, how much I disrespect you, and how much I couldn't give a crap if you want me gone or not. At least that's how I interpreted it. So you can imagine this is all at war at this point. I just look at it and I go, oh, hell no! Oh, hell no! And so I take my ass down to the local hardware store and I approach the guy and I was like, give me the sticky traps. In fact, give me all the sticky traps because we're getting rid of this mouse right now. It just declared a f*** you situation and I'm gonna need to take care of it. And the guy was like, oh geez. So I buy a bunch of sticky traps and I come back and I start putting them everywhere. I put them on the windowsill. I put them underneath the shelves that I have. I put them next to my little refrigerator. I put them behind my other little refrigerator. I'm basically thinking about the mouse highway system, where they're gonna go. So a couple of days after I lay that new sticky trap down, I'm just sitting on my couch. So I hear scuffling sounds and I am like, oh snap. I think we caught one. And I go over to see if it's the sticky trap that is on the windowsill, and sure enough, it is. Now, what I'm about to tell you, you have to pay attention to, because this is all important details. It was a mouse. Yay! On the sticky trap. Yay! Not just like half-assed on the sticky trap. We were talking sticky trap. Mouse. Not just a mouse like this. Not just a mouse like, help me, but a mouse like this. And I could see its heart pounding out like this. And I'm like, ha mother! Your little face is on there, your chin is on there, your little, your elbows and your forearms are stuck to the sticky trap, your hip is stuck to the sticky trap, your tail's stuck to the sticky trap, you're on that sticky trap. This is all really important. So I went and got another groceries bag, picked it up, and put it in the bag. And I tied up the bag, and I put it in my trash can. So I think that was like a Thursday night, and the trash can was pretty empty, so I'm just like, it'll be a while until I need to actually take that out. Whatever, it's gonna die in there. They always do. They've always have. In 2018, that's what they always did. So that was a Thursday night. This was not long ago. One day goes by. The weekend goes by. It's Monday night now. Almost 4 days have gone by, and I'm in bed. And all of a sudden, I start hearing a noise. I'm like, what the f*** is that? So I get up, and all the mouse traps are where I left them, and there's no mice on them. I'm like, okay, what the f***? Where's all this noise coming from? So, I don't know if you remember in the beginning of this video where I mentioned that my beloved trash can with the marble design on it was made out of metal. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Because all of a sudden, the noise, which was basically very loud scratching, chewing sounds, suddenly turned into clanging sounds, like actual clanking. So I get up again and I go over and I'm standing there. I'm standing there like this, and I'm looking at things. And I'm looking at things over there. And I'm bending down and I'm looking behind the refrigerator. Because I'm like, maybe there's a mouse in the refrigerator. And it has to be a new mouse. Because if I recall, the last mouse I saw, I put into a bag, tied up the bag, and put that bag in the trash can. And where it should have died 3 days ago. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Is that mouse still alive? In the trash can? How? How is that even possible? It was stuck to the sticky trap. This was the sticky trap. Do you really recall? It was stuck like that. You can't get out of the sticky traps. Even if it's just a single paw, you're gonna have that paw stuck to it forever. Except for that one mouse that got away. I don't understand. That was just one mouse. Maybe he had a fingernail on there. And maybe he was able to get away that way. But this mouse was stuck to the sticky trap. How could it have gotten out? Did it chew its way out? And then chew its way through the garbage? Out the side of the garbage bag? And now it's up against the side of the trash can? Trying to chew its way out of the metal? What? How? How, I ask you, beloved? How is it possible? It should be dead. If anything, it should be maimed, if not dead. Something should be horrifically wrong with it. Like, most of its skin should be off, and it shouldn't be actually moving around inside of the trash can. So why is it? Maybe it's another mouse? Did a mouse, jump in when I happen to have the trash can open? Would I have noticed that? Do mice do that? These were all the questions I was asking myself as I was standing there. And I didn't want to look, because once again, I was kind of in bitch mode. But it was more than bitch mode this time. It was in survival mode, because at that moment, I'm just like, I think this mouse is radioactive. There's no way that this mouse is natural. Because by all means, once you are like this, you're not getting off and then going off and finding a way to escape. Unless, of course, it's a Stephen King mouse. And maybe it had grown 2 sizes since I last put it in there. Like it's a gamma rays mouse, like it's a Hulk mouse, and it's developing these tiny little bulging biceps in order to rip itself off of the sticky trap and then claw its way through the trash with fangs and be like, hey, here's the side of this metal trash can, I'm gonna find a way out. And I'm like, there's no way I'm looking for that. I'm gonna let it die in there. It ain't gonna live. So I go about my life. I go and I tell my friend about this, and he's just like, it's a mouse, And I'm like, yeah, well, we don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure. I'm hoping it's a mouse. If it's the mouse that I threw out in there, I'm astonished, and quite frankly, very frightened. And then things got silent. And I went, okay, cool. I'll take the trash out when it gets full. So I kept opening up the trash can, putting trash in, and didn't see a mouse. Saw some tears and stuff in the side of the trash bag, and I went, it was there. It's dead now, because I don't hear anything. And now so about a week has gone by, and I know you're about to judge, and feel free to judge, but like I said, I just didn't want to deal with it, and I got a lot going on, and the trash wasn't quite full, but then it hit full, and I was like, I should really take it out, but I got lazy, and I don't know, I didn't want to find the little mouse body in there, and so I had to build myself up, and I was like, that's fine. We're gonna deal with it when we can deal with it. And earlier, I thought today's the day. Do you want to know what I found, beloved? I found that! It's still alive. It's still alive. How is this thing still alive? And more than that, how is it not maimed? It's perfectly fine. It just curled up right there because it heard me shouting, because it's guilty, and I know that it should be guilty because it's supposed to be dead right now. Because how do you survive in a trash can for a week after pulling yourself off of a sticky trap that was supposed to kill you, and if not kill you, maim you, but it's alive. It's fully alive. What am I supposed to do? I have no clue what to do right now. How do I get it out? Do I talk to it? I don't want to talk to it. I don't even want to look at it. I am in full-on heebie-jeebie mode. And it is just, it's sitting there inside of this prison of a trash can. And I don't know what to do right now. And maybe, just maybe, this is pure overreaction, because there's tons of people out there that are like, yeah, I deal with radioactive mice all the time, and all you really need to do is just invite it to tea and just explain why it's being such a nuisance in your life, and it'll feel bad. It'll be like, you know what, I didn't get it at first, but now I'm gonna pack my tiny bags and leave. I don't know, I've never had to deal with that before. Instead, here I am with my cat, who is supposed to be taking care of this mouse, and wondering what the hell I'm supposed to do. I did ask her if she'd be willing to... I did ask her if she'd be willing to go inside the trash can and just kind of do like one of those cage matches where she took the mouse down and then I got her out of the trash can afterwards. But I think that might be animal abuse. Unless they volunteer to do it. Which she did not. But then again, I do need my trash can back. I can't throw out any trash until then. This is genuinely where I'm failing at life, where I have the gall to put down the sticky trap, but not enough gall to actually get rid of the mouse when the sticky trap fails. So I did the appropriate thing, and I asked for help on Instagram and Facebook from my friends. And a few, interesting responses. One of my friends said that I should basically move out because this is now his house, and to that I said, can't do that stuff, because that way they win. Can't let them win. Another one of my friends said, why don't you turn it into a pet? Put it in some sort of a container with holes, make a terrarium, and when it's warm out again, you can release it. To this I also said no, because I can barely look at the thing. How am I supposed to somehow form an emotional bond with it? And then I had other friends that said, you should probably just take the trash can out and release it, Emily, a fully functional adult would. And to that I said, but what if it kills all the babies in town? Then that would be on me. But I think that might have to be my option. Because the other suggestion that I got was, nudge it into another grocery bag and pick it up. And that's not happening. Because, as I stated before, I can barely look at it. Okay, so I need to bring the trash can from over there to over here to go down these stairs. I know that's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it's the mental thing. There's a live animal inside the metal trash can that I'm gonna have to hear skitter around in there and try to find purchase with its tiny claws. And I'm going to have to internalize all of that as I go. Boy, do I sound like a pansy right now. It's beyond that, okay? So sometimes you just sit and think about stuff. So stop it. Just stop it, okay? You'd be doing the same thing. We're doing it! We're gonna do it! Ah! Oh, my word. Oh my word, 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 okay. I moved it. Who's proud of me? Someone better say they're proud of me because, I am not proud of me right now. Oh my gosh, 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 oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I got it. Got the trash can. We're going down. We're heading out. We made it downstairs. Yay! Okay, folks, we've made it this far. I'm gonna try to release this thing and pray it doesn't come back to kill me in the middle of the night with its poisonous fangs and its bulked up radioactive muscles. Oh, I'm not excited right now, but we're doing it because otherwise this is gonna keep going and going. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Oh, it's out! Get out! Oh my gosh! No, don't come back in the house! Get out of here! Get out of here! Leave! The freaking thing tried going back into the house! Through the basement! It knew! It heard me! I chased it off, y'all. I chased it off. Yeah, the little redhead went this way, and it tried to go back in. It
It ran off that way. And it hopped like a friggin' little kangaroo. It was like a little f***ing kangaroo mouse. What the hell, people? Who said that you could live in Maine? No one said you could live in Maine. Ah! Oh, you're free, trash can. You're free.
Do you ever just feel bashful sometimes? Feeling a little bashful right now. I mean, it wasn't hard, but it was hard. You know what I mean? Does anyone know what I mean? Please say you know what I mean. Now, for anybody who might have watched this and either one was super triggered by it, because I can understand that this is an issue for a lot of people. Sorry, thank you for sticking around. And two, people who like looked at me with disdain, I get it. I looking at myself with disdain. Disdain doesn't always solve the problem. And for the people who are like freaked out and proud of me, thank you. Yeah, communities right there. We're... So that was the vlog about the mouse thing, and I'm happy that I could share it with you. And if nobody watches this because they can't handle mice, I totally understand. And if there are any mice out there who happen to be watching this vlog, just know that I'm watching you too.